A very good morning to everyone. And let us begin with this thought that needing less approval makes you stronger, not distant. So let me say that again. Needing less approval makes you stronger, not distant. So let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this question for a second. How many times today did you check if someone was happy with you? Your spouse, your boss, your children, your mother in law, just anyone. And how many times did someone's expression, someone's one word reply, or just their silence change your entire mood for the next few hours? So if you are nodding even a little, today's session is for you. Because today we are not talking about being cold. We are not talking about being unaffected. We are talking about something far more powerful, far more freeing, and honestly, something most of us were never taught. We're talking about emotional independence. So think of a tree, an old, deeply rooted tree, like the kind you see in a village courtyard, the one generations have sat under. And now think about the winds that pass through it. Sometimes gentle, sometimes stormy, sometimes there are birds chirping on its branches, and sometimes there's a kite stuck in it, causing a fuss. Or does that tree lean every time the wind changes direction? Or does it uproot itself because the weather is bad today? No, it stands rooted. It gives shade, it gives fruits, it gives shelter, but it doesn't need the wind's permission to exist. So that tree, that's emotional independence. And today we are going to talk about how to grow those roots inside ourselves. So what is emotional independence really? Let me break it down simply. Point number one, self validation. Stop outsourcing your worth. Let me tell you about Sunita. She's been a homemaker for 25 years. Every morning she makes breakfast for the family. And every morning she waits just a little for someone to say, Wah, aaj ka parantha bada acha bana hai. Some days they do, but most days they just eat and leave. And on those days, Sunita carries a low grade sadness. Not because her parantha was bad, but because her sense of worth was sitting on someone else's plate. And now, here's what emotional independence looks like. Sunita knowing in her own heart, I make a good parantha. I take care of his home with love, and I don't need applause to know that. That shift, that is self validation. And it's not arrogance, it's clarity. Point number two, self regulation. Don't let others drive your emotional car. Now, let me speak to the working woman in the room for a moment. You know that colleague, the one who doesn't respond to your email for 2 days, and suddenly you are replying or replaying, in fact, every interaction, wondering that did I say something wrong? Is she upset with me? Should I follow up? Should I not? And meanwhile, she was just busy. She had a deadline. She barely noticed. But you spent 2 days as her emotional hostage, and she didn't even know she had you locked up. And that's what happens when we outsource our mood to someone else's behavior. Their silence becomes our story, their mood becomes our weather. So, self regulation means I notice I'm triggered, I pause, I ask, is this about me or am I projecting? And I choose my response instead of reacting from my wound. And point number three, and yes, this one is for, of course, men too. So I say this with full respect. Many of you have been raised with one emotional setting, strong and silent. Don't cry, don't talk about feelings, handle it. So what happens? You come home from a hard day at work. Your wife says something a little sharp. Maybe she also had a hard day. And instead of saying, I'm exhausted, can we talk later? You go cold. You shut down. You sleep in silence. And now nobody in the house is okay. But nobody is talking either. So emotional independence for men doesn't mean being a stone. It means having enough inner stability that you can say, I'm not okay right now, without feeling like you have failed. Because a man who knows what he feels and can name it is not weak. He's dangerously powerful. And point number four, you can love deeply without losing yourself. This is the one I really want to leave with you. Emotional independence is not about loving less. It's not about being distant or cold. It's not about not caring. It's about loving from a full cup, not an empty one. So when you're stable inside, you give love more freely. You don't need love as a transaction. You don't keep score. You don't love conditionally. The most loving, generous people you know, the ones who make you feel truly seen, they're emotionally independent because their love doesn't come from need, it comes from choice. So let's do today's exercise. So I want you to close your eyes and then I want to give you one tool, just one, but use it. It will definitely change things. Today, the next time you feel triggered, yes, the next time someone's words sting, or their silence confuses you, or you feel that familiar knot of needing approval, I want you to pause, take a breath, and ask yourself this question: what do I need right now? And how can I give it to myself? So let me repeat the question: what do I need right now? And how can I give it to myself? Not why don't they give it to me? Not what did I do wrong? But what do I need? And how can I meet that need myself? Sometimes the answer is a glass of water and 5 minutes of silence. Sometimes it's writing down your thoughts. Sometimes it's calling someone who truly sees you. But the practice of asking, and that is how you build the roots. So I want to close with something that I hope you carry with you, not just today, but for a long time. The most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Every other relationship with your children, your spouse, your parents, your colleagues will reflect the quality of that one. So, when you become emotionally independent, when you learn to validate yourself, regulate yourself, and meet your own needs, you don't become distant. You become magnetic. You become, you become someone people want to be around because you're no longer draining from them what you can give to yourself. So, this is my call to action for you today. Not a big one, not a life overhaul, just one small radical act of self respect every day. When you seek approval, pause and ask, do I actually need this? Or can I give it to myself? Or when someone's behavior affects your mood, notice it, name it, and choose your response. Or when you feel depleted, ask what you need and honor that answer. You've spent years, maybe decades, tending to everyone else's emotional garden. So today is the day you start tending to your own, because a rooted tree doesn't need the wind's permission to stand, and neither do you. So, with that thought, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.